I hold a master's in public health in epidemiology from the University of Pittsburgh, where I specialized in the incidence and distribution of chronic disease and the lifestyle factors that are associated with the incidence and distribution of chronic disease, such as diabetes, obesity, heart disease, and many others. But probably most important of all, I've been involved in natural health and nutrition for over 42 years. And today, you, hopefully, are going to learn how to boost your body's ability to heal itself through detoxification by using a 10-day detox program. If you notice, I got 3 words: neutralize, conjugate, and eliminate. And we're going to be coming back to that because those are very, very important processes to help your body get rid of toxins that have accumulated in your body. And if you don't think this is a big deal, by the time this talk is over, hopefully you will learn and recognize that it is actually a big deal. First of all, what is a toxin? For our purposes, a toxin is going to be any substance that can cause injury or have a harmful effect to a human being. And the first thing I want you to understand is that they are abundant, they are everywhere, and they are doing damage. For example, air pollutants that we breathe, including petrochemicals, gasoline fumes from cars and trucks, but also factories that emit them. There are toxic chemicals, such as environmental pollutants and detergents and organic solvents that enter through our skin. There are toxins that enter through the food and water we eat and drink. That's probably the most common way we get them. But let's take a look. We get toxins by breathing them in. Paint fumes, gasoline, particle pollution. We get toxins that enter through our skin. Chemicals, paint. We get toxins, of course, through the food and water we drink. We're going to be going over that in more detail. So those are the toxins that come from outside of us, right? But there's also toxins that are made right within our own bodies. These include toxins that are released by harmful bacteria, yeasts, and parasites that are living right inside of us. And they release nasty things that are toxins to our body. And just in the process of living, just going about our daily organic metabolism, toxins are released, such as carbon dioxide, urea, and lactic acid. Now, if we were just had to worry about a few of these things, it wouldn't be so bad, would it? But we have a toxic load. We are being bombarded by toxins and pollutants that we breathe, that enter through our skin, through our food, and through our water, and those that live within us, and those that we make as just part of our daily living process. Here are just some examples that you should be aware of. Prescription and over-the-counter drugs found in our drinking water. Our drinking water. How do you think they got there? You flush them down the toilet. They wind up in the water table. Or you dump it in the trash, and they still wind up in the water table. Okay, so in 2008 in Philadelphia, the Associated Press did an investigation and found that there were 56 different pharmaceutical or byproducts in treated drinking water and 63 in the city's watershed. There's no safety limit for drugs in our water, and there's no way of filtering them out. Our system wasn't designed to get rid of drugs in our drinking water. In and of itself, would it be a problem? Maybe, but probably not. But it adds to what? Our toxic load, right? The sum total. Tobacco smoke, first and second hand. I live in an apartment. The people above me smoke. The people to the side of me smoke. It's horrible. I got to get out. Secondhand smoke. Okay. Toxins related to stress, anxiety, and hostility. I'm familiar with all three of those. So the thing is, that's coming from within. Then there's pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and fertilizers. They're everywhere, right? They're on the garden next door. Hey, anybody remember Turf Plus 2? Scott's Turf, any gardeners and lawners? This is like 40 years ago. I worked in a garden center. When they were on sale, they went out like we were giving away for free. Harsh household cleaners containing bleach, chemicals from glue, paint, stain remover, as well as dry cleaning chemicals. And then there's chemicals in our personal care products, such as soap, shampoo, and conditioners. Chemicals that you may not even have heard of, something like triclosan and parabens, which are potential endocrine disruptors. As soon as you hear endocrine disruptor, you know that it's going to have something bad to do with your hormones. That is not a good thing. And they've been found that they can affect thyroid function and are linked to cancer and neurotoxicity. All right. As if that wasn't enough, we still have to talk about heavy metals. Heavy metals such as lead, aluminum, arsenic, mercury, and cadmium. They're found in our air, they're found in our drinking water, and pesticides, and cooking utensils, paint, tin cans, etc. Mercury is found in dental fillings. I think like 50% of those, they call that particular type of filling. But about 50% of it, I believe, was mercury. If you eat a lot of tuna and swordfish, that's a problem because mercury bioaccumulates in the predators. So the tuna and the swordfish, they eat smaller fish that have mercury, and now that mercury becomes even greater in the tuna and the swordfish. You have to be very careful about that, actually. It's also in flu, immunization shots. Thimerosal. It's used as a preservative. It's also used to kill things. And even in very small quantities, cadmium, mercury, and lead are toxic. And finally, is our diet, the standard American diet. And it is sad. It's very sad. Toxins are the result of processed and GMO foods filled with chemicals, additives, antibiotics, and growth hormones used in meat and dairy products primarily. So, does anybody here not know what a GMO is? GMOs. They're not good for us. They are synthesized in labs when they are going to come up with a new variety of fruit or vegetable. So basically they're combining two different vegetables or a vegetable with a fruit that normally would not occur. Okay, so it's not like you're crossing two tomato plant breeds or something like that. It's not that simple. And what about antibiotics? Stuart Levy, MD, an expert on the field, estimates that there are between 15 to 17 million pounds of antibiotics used subtherapeutically in the United States each year. What that means is that these antibiotics are not being used to prevent disease. They're not being used to prevent disease. They're being used as growth hormones to make the cattle and animals bigger. Do you think that might be a problem when it gets into our bodies? Sure it is. Do you know in Europe it's been outlawed for at least 10 years? At least 10 years. they've outlawed this practice. In fact, the World Health Organization said that the best single thing that they ever did to help prevent antibiotic-resistant bacteria was to stop the use of antibiotics as growth hormones. Probably another 10 years we'll be doing it too. Or what? Going to be 20 years behind the time. That's 20 more years for us to get antibiotics and to develop antibiotic-resistant bacteria. All right, then there's just the normal pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, heavy metals, and fertilizers in the food that we eat. Now, I'm going to pick on dioxin as an environmental pollutant that has entered into our food chain and has pooled in our cells and in our tissues. I could have picked a different environmental pollutant, but most of you have at least heard of the name dioxin. Is that right? All right. So, dioxins are persistent environmental pollutants found throughout the world. More than 90% of human exposure is through food, mainly meat, dairy products, fish and shellfish. And dioxins are highly toxic. They can cause reproductive problems, damage the immune system, interfere with hormones, and cause cancer. And according to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, National Adipose Tissue Survey, adipose, that's fat, right? Adipose survey. The frequency of observation of dioxin compounds in adipose tissue, the fat tissue of United States citizens, was 100% for this particular dioxin, octochlorobenzodioxin. All right, everybody say that 3 times quickly. Octochlorobenzodioxin, octochlorobenzodioxin. Come on. Okay, now, octochlorobenzodioxin, as you notice, is OCD. D. All right. But it's not a laughing matter because 2 other dioxins were found at 98 and 96%. And in addition, many more toxic xenobiotic, which just means that they come from the outside, toxic compounds that are coming from the outside, were found at 100% rates in the fatty tissue of U.S. citizens. I'm not an environmental scientist, but no matter how you spin it, that can't be good. Who lives in Pittsburgh or Allegheny County? We have our own little issue here. All right, let's take a look at it. Pittsburgh air pollution, particle pollution, like that coming from exhaust smoke, can increase the risk of heart disease and lung disease, such as lung cancer and asthma attacks. In 2013, Pittsburgh ranked 8th in the nation for year-round particle pollution. Now that's pretty bad. That's 8th in the entire nation. But wait, there's more, because in 2014, we ranked 5th in the entire nation for year-round particle pollution, actually getting worse. What does that mean in practical terms? In practical terms, that means Allegheny County has twice the risk of cancer from air pollution than the surrounding counties. In November of 2013, the American Lung Association ranked Allegheny County in the top 2% for cancer risk for air pollution. And in 2012, the American Allergy and Asthma Foundation ranked Pittsburgh the 4th most challenging place to live with asthma. All right, am I giving you a good enough reason to go through a detox? Try to get rid of some of these toxins out of your body? The result is a toxic overload. It is this total load of toxins, greater and unlike we have ever seen or been exposed to, that overloads our body's detoxification and immune system and makes us sick or worsens an existing illness. The toxins are stored in every cell of our body, and of course it is in our best interest in health to eliminate and get rid of them. And it starts even before we are born, to add insult to injury. In 2005, the Environmental Working Group discovered as many as 232 chemicals in the blood of 10 newborns, including known neurotoxins and carcinogens. It doesn't necessarily mean the mother wasn't eating well. It could have gotten in from the air she was breathing. It could have gotten in through her skin. Could have gotten in through the water. Absolutely. Well, we just talked about certain immunizations that are filled with mercury and other very nasty things.
You can also get cancer from deodorant. I've got it on your both arms.
From the aluminum in the yeah. Well, that's what I was talking about with the natural care products. That you have to be careful of what you use.
And they said Dial soap last week has mercury in it.
A lot of the lipstick has low levels of mercury in it.
I don't use lipstick.
All right. So when these toxins pool in your system, when they get inside your body and pool in your cells, this can result in a chronic inflammatory state. Does that make sense? Remember what inflammation is. The body's going to attack or try to deal with anything it considers to be foreign and dangerous, right? Anything considers to be foreign and dangerous. Now, do you think these toxins within our body are considered to be foreign and dangerous? Of course they are, right? So we have this chronic inflammatory state that starts to occur. And as a result, we can wind up with chronic illnesses and autoimmune diseases. Some of them are Alzheimer's, dementia, depression, heart disease, liver disease, chronic fatigue, cancer, of course, fibromyalgia, arthritis, digestive diseases such as Crohn's disease, colitis, autoimmune diseases including multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, etc. And even if you do not have a disease yet that has manifested as a result of a toxic overload that is beyond the ability of your body to get rid of, you certainly can have some of the symptoms of toxic overload. And some of the symptoms are allergies, sinus congestion, skin breakouts and rashes, headaches, fatigue, weakness, brain fog, difficulty concentrating. What did I say? Shortness of breath, weight gain, bloating and puffiness, nausea, muscle aches and pains, depression, mood disorders, hair loss, tingling in fingers and feet, which I've heard that from lots of people who've had mercury overdoses. Too much mercury in the system. Now, I have had quite a few patients who will come to me with many of these symptoms. And just recently, I had someone, headaches, fatigue, brain fog, difficulty concentrating, muscle aches and pains, depression, mood disorder, comes in. I feel like a new person. I feel like somebody turned the light bulb on. It's like a cloud was lifted. My energy is so much better. I can think so much clearer than I could before. All right, but you're not here for me to just tell you how bad it is, are you? You want to know what you can do about it. So now we're going to enter into the portion that is going to be practical. We've got to do two things. One, we have to at least put limits on the toxins that are coming into our body. Make sense? If you have a fire, do you want to put fuel on it? No. Right? So we're going to remove the fuel as best we can. It's impossible to be perfect. So we want to avoid dangerous dry cleaning chemicals if possible. And we're going to do our best here, right? We're not going to be perfect. We're going to wash new clothes, and if possible, wear organic clothes. Reduce the amount of toxins from your water. At the very least, get a filter. Use natural cosmetics and skincare products. And be sure that the natural ones don't have any toxins in them. Because you can have natural toxins too as well. It's easy to do. Lots of companies now have natural cosmetics and skincare products. Use a HEPA or equivalent air filter. I'm not doing that, but some people will need to do that. Use glass containers that are microsafe. I think that's something everyone can do. Avoid pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, and chemical fertilizers in our lawns and in the food we eat. We all can do that. All right. Now, what do we do in terms of getting rid of the toxins that are already inside us? This is the detoxification program. But to do it, first I want you to understand the importance of the liver. The liver is our major detoxification organ. No disrespect to the kidneys, right? I believe that the kidneys filter 200 quarts of blood a day. So the kidneys are definitely a player. But if we have to pick one, it's the liver. All the blood from our intestines go to the liver first. And then what happens? The liver filters and cleans 2 liters of blood per minute. Whoa. It processes all food, including the toxins and nutrients that have been absorbed into our bloodstream. It removes toxins from the air, from the exhaust, smoke, the chemicals we breathe. It removes drugs and environmental toxins. It detoxifies alcohol and other poisonous chemicals. In other words, the liver is going to get rid of the toxins that we're breathing in, that are coming through our skin, that we're eating and drinking, and even the ones that are being made within us. The liver also synthesizes bile and cholesterol that bind the fat-soluble toxins, which then enter into the bowel. First, they are bound by, anybody know what the toxins are bound by? Who said that? Here we go. Say it louder. Fiber, that's right. Very good. It's bound by fiber. You think fiber is going to be an important part of the program? Of course it is, right? Because it binds. It helps you get rid of the toxins. Remember the 3 words that I said in the beginning that I wanted you to pay attention to? Neutralize, conjugate, eliminate. If your liver, by the way, is compromised or the toxic load is too large, the toxins will accumulate in the body's tissues. So the program that we're going to do is going to allow the liver to go through all 3 phases of its detoxification duties optimally. That's what we're going to do. And in fact, if you do what I tell you, just like me, you will almost have great sex every night. Almost on Monday, almost on Tuesday, almost on Wednesday. Oh well. All right, so major goal is to transform the fat-soluble compounds into water-soluble compounds to be excreted. The toxins that mostly come into our body are fat-soluble. What does that mean? It means that these toxins will never leave. They would need to be dissolved by oil or fat. That ain't happening in our body. So the first order of business is to convert these fat-soluble toxins, which the majority of toxins are, into water-soluble, into something water-soluble to make it easier for the body to get rid of them. So phase 1 now, and we're getting into the phases, this is where the fat-soluble toxins are converted into intermediates. Phase 1, they get converted into an intermediate that's going to be water-soluble, a little better, not yet ready to be excreted, but it's still very toxic. In the process of this occurring, for every molecule of toxin that is basically being converted, free radicals are also being released. Remember I said that during the normal metabolic process, toxins are released? This is a perfect example in phase 1. So, if free radicals are being released, what are we going to need in phase 1 to make it work right? is going to be an essential part of the program. What are we going to need? We're going to need antioxidants because that's what takes care of the free radicals. The antioxidants bind the free radicals up. They neutralize. That's why that's such an important word. For phase 1, we have to make sure neutralization of the free radicals takes place. And we're going to have sufficient antioxidants for that to occur. So consuming antioxidants in the form of food and supplements is going to be important to neutralize the free radicals because the free radicals and the intermediates may actually be more toxic than the original toxin itself. Phase 2. Now we have an intermediate that's toxic still. We've taken care of the free radicals with neutralization, but we still have the toxic intermediate that has got to become more water soluble to be released. So in phase 2, we attach other substances to the intermediate to make it work better. That's called conjugation. Phase 2 what's important about phase 2 is the conjugation of the intermediate. And just like in phase 1, there are certain substances, certain foods, etc., that are going to be the conjugators to make it all work. And I've just included a few just so that you become familiar with a few of them. Glutathione I have down there because that's a major conjugator. Amino acids, sulfur, methyl groups are all very important. Now, we're not going to talk too much about it, but in talks that are going to go throughout the week, I believe Mike is going to be giving a talk on NR-DMG. And NR-DMG is a major methyl donor. And that's going to be one of the sources of its potency and why it's so good. And in phase 3, we have to eliminate them. Once we've neutralized the free radicals, once we've conjugated the toxic intermediate, we got to get rid of them. So some toxins are going to be shunted into the bloodstream and then removed by the kidneys in the urine, and the others move to the bile where they are bound by fiber and then secreted. Then they make their way out of our body as feces. Bile is also good for breaking down fats and lubricating the bowel movement. So it's really good. So the best foods for detoxification are going to be foods that what? Are going to be high in antioxidants, and are also going to be good conjugators or support the phase 2 conjugation process. The star in most cases is going to be the cruciferous vegetables. Your broccoli, your collards, your kale, your cabbage, arugula. There's about 10 others, at least. But also garlic and onion. All of these are sulfur rich, and sulfur is a major conjugator. All right, everybody following me? You're all okay with the foods? And of course, we're going to be doing lots of dark leafy greens, wide variety of colored vegetables and fruits, and lemon, limes, and tangerines, which are sources of limonene, which induces both phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification pathways. It's actually the essential oil that does it, but I imagine that you still get some if you eat the fruit itself. Maybe get a little bit of the zest or something. Make sure it's organic. And this is my favorite fiber. This is wonderful, and I can't call it food because it ain't food for us. What's it food for? What's it food for? Who eats the fiber? What? Nah, birds. Birds eat some fiber. Who eats the fiber are your good bacteria. The microbiota in your system, that's who eats it. They love it. It's their favorite food. That along with resistant starch makes up their meal plan. And they become healthy. The more fiber, the more resistant starch you feed them, the better your gut microbiota. The more you eat sugar, bad carbohydrates, the more bad bacteria and yeast you're going to have in your body. Beans contain a lot of resistant starch. In other words, this is a starch. I don't believe it's the same as fiber. I think it's slightly different, is different than fiber. But you're still going to get it from the same sources. Beans are still going to be a very rich source of resistant starch. The greatest food for fiber are going to be your beans and legumes. All the others are good as well. But if you really want the food that is going to be the star for your good bacteria that they'll love you. By the way, do you know anything about you know that you have more bacteria in your body than you have cells in your body? A lot more. So in some strange way, you are actually more bacteria than you are human. How do you like that? So you better be nice to them. Okay? You better be nice. Because they're nice to you. And if you're not nice to them, then the bad bacteria move in. We don't want that. If bad bacteria move in, what are we going to have? More toxins. We're not going to have less. We're going to have more. You have this right in your handout. And I'm recommending at least 35 to 40 grams. And if you do what's on the handout, you won't have any problem. All right, now we get to the best supplements. Now, what do you think these supplements are going to do?
Boost your body's ability to detoxify.
That's right, but how? It's going to boost each phase of liver detoxification. It's going to make each phase work better, optimally. So let's get right to it. Live Clear 2. You're going to be taking this, and you have the whole plan written out for you, so you don't have to remember or write anything down, really. Once you get the, and for those of you who don't have it, you'll just pick one up after. Live Clear 2 contains 19 separate ingredients combined synergistically to support all three phases of detoxification. In phase 1, it provides powerful antioxidants. So what do the antioxidants do? Remember the three words. They neutralize the free radicals produced during the first phase. Some of the antioxidants included are alpha-lipoic acid and zinc. For phase 2, it includes important compounds and amino acids such as N-acetylcysteine. N-acetylcysteine is the major precursor to glutathione. Glutathione, if it's not the most important conjugator, it's up there in the top 3 for conjugating the intermediates. N-acetylcysteine. In fact, N-acetylcysteine is so good at conjugating that when people have Tylenol overdose, by the way, Tylenol overdose is the most common drug hospitalization. Tylenol, because it comes in everything. People don't know they're even taking it. They're taking it in their cough medicine and as a pain reliever. Next thing they know, their liver's going into failure. And when you're in the hospital, you know what they do? They give you N-acetylcysteine to prevent you from going into liver failure. Large doses. N-acetylcysteine. Blew me away when I heard it. Quite frankly, I had to look it up again to be sure that I was reading the right thing. Phase 3, Live Clear 2 also supports that. It contains unique and patented ingredients you're not going to find in other supplements. One is a highly available form of silymarin, which is the active form of milk thistle. That's when you take milk thistle for liver, why you're taking it is you're taking it for silymarin. Its antioxidant effects, antioxidants, what do? Neutralize free radicals, right? Are reported to be several times greater than vitamin C or E. Now, even if it's just a little bit greater than vitamin C or E, that's a good thing, because vitamin C and E are very good antioxidants. And it supports detoxification by both preventing glutathione depletion and increasing glutathione production. Glutathione conjugator, phase 2. Curcumin, this is an anti-inflammatory. It's also a liver antioxidant. You've heard of curcumin, but this particular blend contains 3 curcuminoids as part of the formula to optimize the potency. And finally, phase 3, it contains burdock, a source of inulin, which is a prebiotic to feed you good bacteria. And it contains ursi leaf and stinging nettle, which are very beneficial for the kidney. 3 twice a day. Super shake, you're going to be doing the super shake once a day for like 6 days and twice a day for like 4 days. Contain a lot of amino acids. For amino acid conjugation. Okay? Irrespective of what it's doing, all the other good things it's doing for you, it's helping in the conjugation process, providing you an easy source of amino acids because animal protein is a no-no during this. Why? Animal protein is hard to digest. It actually forms a toxin before it can be gotten out of your system. So, at least during the liver detox, we're going to minimize all animal protein. The super shake is hypoallergenic, so even if you have food allergies, you can do it. And it's designed for people with food allergies. It contains complete vegetarian protein with all the essential amino acids, and essential is important because the only way you can get them is through eating them. It also contains some fiber, which is great, a soluble fiber that aids in detoxification, supports regularity, and of course, it feeds your microflora, beneficial intestinal microflora, and some energy we're going to get from the super shake as well in the form of medium chain triglycerides that provide a quick source of energy. And unlike other fats, don't store in the body. And finally, we're going to do lean grains, which support detoxification and rejuvenation. It combines over 40 nutrient-rich veggies, fruits, and herbs, essential antioxidant, right? Remember now, we're all getting that? Antioxidant, neutralization of the free radicals for phase 1. Provides excellent phase 2 support as well. It contains spirulina and chlorella, which are blue-green algae. The spirulina helps detoxify the blood, supports healthy functioning of the liver and the chlorella, promotes growth of beneficial bacteria, and now we also get a little bit into the breakdown of heavy metals. By the way, glutathione and then acetylcysteine are also good for the breakdown of heavy metals. This is the program itself. It improves all 3 phases. All food should be organic. You're going to limit your animal products to no more than 6 to 9 ounces of organic free-range poultry, low mercury, clean water-caught fish for the entire 10-day period. Okay? So that's less than an ounce a day. Only the foods I listed in your detox handout are allowed, so you don't have to worry about anything else. You're just going to stick with what's on there. Absolutely no gluten, dairy, processed foods, added sugar, artificial sweeteners. If you're going to cheat, I have a clean 15 that I've listed in your handout. So those are the ones that you probably could get away with in terms of food not being organic. Certainly these you want organic. This is the dirty dozen. These are the top 12 that are going to be the highest in toxins. Every year the list changes, by the way. Every year list changes. This is this year's list. Right? That's the clean 14 for you. This is day 1 through 3. The only thing I want to do is kind of give you, show you the difference a little bit here between days 1 and 3. 1 and 3 and 7 and 10 are going to be exactly the same. Exactly the same. So in that part of the protocol, the program, you're going to be doing foods that are going to help you in all 3 phases. We talked about the cruciferous family, all fruits and vegetables except corn and oranges. All beans, peas, and lentils, high in fiber, right? Antioxidants. All nuts and seeds except peanuts. Brown rice, black rice, wild rice, quinoa, rolled or steel-cut oats. They're the only ones allowed. We should be modest. There should be a modest amount of these taken. Dairy replacements, there's no dairy, so we can use almond or coconut milk, water, green, or herbal tea. All spices are allowed, olive, coconut oil only. 1 scoop of super shake, 1 scoop of lean greens, and 3 capsules of Live Clear twice a day. You can take your super shake, you put the lean greens right in it. It's actually fairly tasty. Okay, I take my super shake, put some lean greens in it, put some blueberries or mixed berries, organic. Tastes good. You know? 4 through 7 is a little different because in 4 through 7 you're not going to have any nuts and seeds. We're going to make it really easy for the liver to digest food. So nuts and seeds are going to be in there. And we've upped the super shake and the lean greens to 1 scoop of super shake twice a day, 1 scoop of lean greens twice a day. And there's no breads or crackers or rice cakes allowed. Only wild rice and brown rice and quinoa oats for your grains in modest amounts. All right, now before I end this, I'm going to tell you about one more thing because you got your program, right? You know what to do. I'm going to tell you if you want to, and there is another supplement called MetalloClear. And this is specifically designed to help get rid of heavy metals. The program that I've given you is pretty good in getting rid of heavy metals and toxins in general. But if you think that you might have, you're working in an industry or you're worried about you ate too much tuna, too many dental fillings, and you want something special, the MetalloClear is really good. And why is that? The major metal detoxifiers are going to be glutathione. Some of the other conjugators are going to be good too. But glutathione is a really good metal conjugator. But it's called methylthionines. Methylthionines, that's what they are. It's a family of sulfur-rich, mercury-binding proteins that live inside all our cells. And their function, one of their major functions, is to bind heavy metals concentrated in the liver and kidneys. They grab onto mercury and they bind it. And they also act as an antioxidant separately. So the MetalloClear, guess what that it does? Metallothiones. It's designed to boost your metallothiones for excretion of metals. But that you would do for a longer period of time. You would do 3 twice a day for 1 month and then follow with 2 twice a day for 2 months. It's not just a 10-day detox that we're working on. But I would have felt I didn't give you the whole story if I didn't include the metallothiones. Yes?
Would you do this at the same time you do your other plans?
Excuse me?
Would you use the MetalloClear at the same time?
Yes, you can do the metallothiones the same time and then just continue with the continue with it. Yes. Any other questions? Yes.
How much of the coconut oil or olive oil do you take?
I would just use small amounts, just enough to cook with, or olive oil. You might want to use it as a salad dressing, a little bit, but not much. Oils are tough for the system to get rid of, and it goes right. Anything extra just becomes fat in the system. As another practitioner says, what's he say? It goes from, I forget what he said, but it goes right to the thighs. Yes.
Okay, so what about like hemp milk or hemp oil?
Yeah, hemp milk is good. Hemp milk will be fine. And if you want to use hemp oil to cook with, I would imagine that would be okay too. It's high in omega-3 fatty acids. Anything else? Yes.
So people who go through this cleanse, what do they tend to report?
Like I said, I've had some people come and say, my God, it feels like somebody turned on the light. It's a good, quick kick start to lose weight. Also? Okay. Yeah.
I've done detoxes before, and the thing that I can tell you about my experience is that the first few days you kind of feel like you have the flu.
Yeah, okay, I'm really glad that you said that. Thank you very much, because I really should have gone over some of that and told all of you. In the beginning of a detox program, you don't call up here and say, that guy's crazy, what did he do to me? Okay, because there's a good chance that you will not feel well for your first few days at least. At least. You might not feel all that great for the entire 10-day detox, to be honest about it. you're doing yourself a lot of good. That's why you're drinking what? What are you doing? You're drinking a lot of water. You better make sure you're drinking a lot of water so your kidneys are getting rid of these toxins. So drink a lot of water. Sleep. Sleep is very important during this time. Try to get 7 to 8 hours sleep at least. 8 hours I recommend at least. And yeah, you don't want to be doing heavy duty physical activity because you're just not going to feel up to it most likely. That's why there's a 30-day detox. It's kind of like, after the 10-day detox, you're just starting to feel, good, and then you continue along with it. But that'll be up to you. I'm going to get you started. Yeah.
Okay, so like with the daily dioxins, with the air pollution and like chemtrails, is there any way we could protect our body? I have two questions actually. Is there any way for us to protect ourselves from that? And my second question is, how often are you supposed to detox?
There's not going to be any protocol that say that you need to detox every 3 months or something like that. A lot of that's going to have to do with your individual exposure, how you feel, what you want to do. If I was going to recommend people, as a general recommendation, I would probably say twice a year.
If you just did it 3 months ago,
You certainly could do it again. You could certainly do it 4 times a year. It depends on the individual and their needs. I'm saying at least twice a year.
you've been eating all organic and doing proper.
Yeah, if you're doing really good and you feel real well and everything's going well, I still recommend doing it probably twice a year. If you're not, then probably 4 times a year would be a good idea. Anything more than that, you're doing something wrong. You better be checking into what you're doing on a daily basis. So, and what was the other one about you said something about the dioxins, what we can do to protect ourselves?
On a daily basis.
There's really, on a daily basis, quite frankly, I would probably take some supplements like N-acetylcysteine and vitamin C, which boost your glutathione levels that are going to help you detox better. And you're going to do your best that you can trying to get pure water, use filters, try to maybe, an air filter in the house if you live. It's hard to do all of those things. That's the problem, because we're still going to get it. I'm sorry?
How much vitamin C?
I recommend at least 500 milligrams twice a day, unless you're doing real good, then 500 milligrams a day. You could go more than that during flu season, for sure. Yeah?
Did you mention anything about using distilled water?
I don't know about distilled water. I mean, I worry a little bit about it. In my head, I still think that maybe it might be leaching some minerals in our system. I don't know if that's true or not, to be honest, but that's my own bias.
Now, would you also be supplementing during the detox period or not?
I think during the detox, just do this. If there's some things like vitamin C, you take your vitamin C, that's fine. Vitamin C helps with glutathione. It helps that do well. So there are certain supplements that I would continue doing. Enter DMG, by the way. That's a great supplement for during detox. You don't want to do too many. You wouldn't be like taking a lot of minerals, etc. Because now you want your body to be working and processing that as well. But certainly there's other supplements that you can take. We're keeping it to a bare minimum. I kept it to a bare minimum. Yeah.
What about spring water?
Yeah, if you can trust it, it's okay. I don't like the politics involved in spring water, although I have to admit, because I live in Pittsburgh, I use it a lot more than I would if I lived elsewhere. There's a lot of bad things that go along with spring water. It's like companies will go into towns and basically take all their clean water. And now this town itself has no right to the water. That's nasty. All right, everybody okay? All right, good. You're welcome.